biological shutdown, but the servers glow. Man, just listen to that. You can literally feel the intensity of that line, right? It is electric. It is absolutely relentless. And honestly, it's the pulsing heart of one of the most wild digital creations we're going to be digging into today.
Welcome to the Explainer, everyone. I am so pumped you're here with us because today we are totally tearing apart a completely automated, high-octane AI music generation workflow. If you've ever been fascinated by how raw text and just rigid logic can somehow spontaneously combust into a full-blown, highly produced musical anthem, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to look at exactly how a machine engineered a track called juicedUP Omega.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. The juiced-up phenomenon.
So before we look at the actual plumbing, we really have to admire the architecture here. The output this system generated isn't just, some generic background elevator music. No way. The system mapped out a highly creative, super aggressive synthwave track, running at a blistering 128 beats per minute. It's got this heavy, pulsing bass line, and what's really incredible are the neon-soaked lyrics it generated to match that tempo. It spits out lines like 138 cards in the hustle hack lane and from the junk wax box to the neon electric light. It just perfectly visualizes this late-night, hyper-focused digital grind.
But this brilliantly illustrates that we aren't just dealing with a flat text file anymore. Notice how, right in the middle, for the bridge of the song, the AI dynamically commands the tempo to drop from 128 all the way down to 75 BPM, specifically calling for a deep, cinematic bass reverb. It's actually pacing out a real musical journey. It's engineering the emotional highs and lows of the track. It literally knows when to push the listener and exactly when to pull back.
And the thematic resonance? It's just wild. Listen to this. Flip smarter, not harder, that's the iron decree. Building the empire, setting the operator free. These lyrics perfectly capture a very specific modern creator hustle culture. It's talking about ROI, time arbitrage, flipping metrics. It sounds incredibly human, right? It's so tapped into the zeitgeist despite being entirely machine-generated.
Moving on to Section 2, Dissecting the Automated Flow.
So you might be wondering, how do we actually get that incredibly vibrant, aggressive, creative output? Well, let's shift our focus and pull back the curtain on the analytical engine that actually built the whole shebang. What's really fascinating about this automated flow is the sheer contrast. On the one hand, we've got the pulsing, creative synthwave anthem we just talked about. But on the other hand, we have this rigid, clunky, highly logical 5-step automation flow. It goes, Step 1, get a chat message. Step 2, ask Gemini. Step 3, create a doc. Step 4, ask Gemini again. Step 5, ask Gemini one more time. It is a highly structured, almost robotic sequence of triggers and actions.
And the origin of this entire complex song? It's surprisingly simple. Look at the trigger right here. A single chat message from a user named Jesse Campbell sent at 4:45 in the morning, containing literally nothing but a YouTube link. Just think about that. That single spark in the early hours of the morning set off the entire 5-step chain reaction, ultimately resulting in juicedUP Omega.
All right, Section 3, from text to audio engine.
Now, as this flow actually progresses, it hits a very specific technical limitation right around Step 4. And the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the division of labor. Because as brilliant as Gemini is at writing those aggressive lyrics and structuring the tempo changes, at the end of the day, it is a text-based AI. It cannot directly render an audio file. It can't sing, and it definitely can't play the synth. So it has to hand off the blueprint to Lyria 3 Pro. Lyria is the necessary vocal and instrumental engine here. It's a specialized audio model capable of generating full 3-minute compositions. Think of it this way. Gemini is your brilliant lyricist and producer, but Lyria is your actual band.
And hey, if you want to try this yourself, here is exactly where you can access this engine right now. You can input your prompts for Lyria 3 Pro directly through Gemini, Google AI Studio, or even integrated creative platforms like Artlist and PixArt. It's highly accessible if you just know what to ask for.
Which brings us to Section 4, the perfect music prompt.
Because knowing where to go is really only half the battle. How do you actually engineer a track like juicedUP Omega? To get truly professional results from Lyria 3 Pro, you can't just type in "make a cool song" and hope for the best. You need precision. Look at these variables. You define the genre. You set the tempo, say 120 BPM. You dictate the key, like D minor, which instantly gives the AI a solid musical framework. You assign the vibe. Is it nostalgic? Is it high energy? You specify the instruments, the vocal style, the structure from intro to outro, and even specific instructions like keep the production clean. By defining these exact variables, you are taking complete control of the machine. You're acting as the true executive producer.
And finally, Section 5, Pro Tips for Lyria 3. To round out our explainer today, let's look at the system's own actionable frameworks for getting the absolute best results. Consider these your 5 insider secrets. Number 1, specify your duration. Explicitly tell it you want a 3-minute song, so it utilizes its full pro capacity. 2, use structural control. Guide it by explicitly calling out where you want the verses and the bridges. 3, multimodal input, which we're going to look at closer in just a sec. 4, refinement. If it's not quite right, tweak your tempo and vocal intensity in your next prompt. And number 5, output format. Just ensure you are selecting between MP3 and WAV based on whatever your actual production needs are. Boom, rapid fire.
Now, I really want to pause for a second and highlight this third point, because it is absolutely mind-bending. Multimodal input. This means you can literally upload an image alongside your text prompt to influence the sound and atmosphere of the track. Seriously. Imagine uploading a picture of a rainy, neon-lit cyberpunk city, and the AI uses the visual data from that picture to dictate the mood, the reverb, and the literal vibe of the generated song. It is bridging visual art and audio in a way that is just spectacular.
Building the empire. That's what those lyrics talked about earlier, right? Building the empire, setting the operator free. The real relevance for us here is that these aren't just fun little toys to play with, they are serious workflow tools. By understanding the flow, from a simple chat trigger to a structured text blueprint in Gemini, all the way to the audio rendering engine of Lyria 3 Pro, you can totally streamline your own creative processes. You can set up your own automated digital empire, dictating exactly the tempo, the vibe, and the structure you need for your projects.
Which brings us to the thematic sign-off from the generated log file itself. System, continuous, end of line. Juice mode, activated. We've seen how a 4:45 a.m. chat message can automatically spawn a fully structured 128 BPM synthwave anthem. The technology is already here, and the workflow is completely mapped out. So my final question for you to take away from all this is, what creative process in your life are you going to automate first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.